You can't see them with your naked eye. They don't roar or shimmer or leap out of the water. But without them, there wouldn't be any whales. There wouldn't be any coral reefs. Without these species, there wouldn't be any oxygen for us to breathe. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary world of marine plankton. Now, these species are ancient, tiny, and everywhere. Some of them build glass skeletons that are more complex than any human architecture. Others drift through the water column like living jewels. And together, these species impact everything on the planet. Today, we'll be learning more about the microscopic organisms that call the ocean home, and why these might just be the most powerful organisms on the planet. When we think about ocean life, we tend to picture the dramatic. Sharks slicing through the waves, coral reefs glowing with color, giant squid lurking in the deep. But the real foundation of the ocean's food web, the foundation of our own survival, is invisible to the human eye. A single drop of seawater can contain millions of living organisms. Plankton, diatoms, radiolarians, copepods. Some are plants, some are animals, some blur the line completely. Together, they are known as plankton, from the Greek word planktos, meaning drifter. They float with the currents, move with the tides, and fuel life on this planet from the bottom up. They produce oxygen, they capture carbon, they power the food chain, and in the process, they've become the true architects of the ocean. Let's zoom in. Meet the diatom, a single-celled alga encased in a delicate, geometric shell made entirely of silica, the same stuff found in glass and sand. These glassy structures come in a dizzying array of shapes: circles, triangles, spirals, stars. They're often more intricate than anything designed by humans, and yet each one is made by a single cell with no brain and no hands. Diatoms drift in sunlit waters, quietly converting carbon dioxide into oxygen through photosynthesis. In fact, they're responsible for up to 40% of the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere. That's more than all the world's rainforests combined. But here's the wild part. When diatoms die, their glass shells don't dissolve, they sink. And over millions of years, they've built up thick layers of silica-rich sediment on the seafloor. Buried under pressure and heat, those ancient layers transformed into petroleum and natural gas. Yes, your car might be running on the remains of long-dead diatoms. You always hear about dinosaurs being the foundation of the petroleum that we use in our cars, but much of that is actually attributed to diatoms. Now, if diatoms are elegant, radiolarians are baroque. These single-celled marine protists create spiny, crystal-like skeletons, some so complex they look like alien chandeliers. Like diatoms, their skeletons are made of silica, but their architecture is even more elaborate. Geodesic domes, radiating spokes, lattices that would make a mathematician weep. Radiolarians use thread-like arms to catch prey and slowly drift through the upper ocean layers. And just like diatoms, their remains form radiolarian ooze, glassy snow that coats large sections of the seafloor. Scientists can core these layers to reconstruct climate and chemistry changes over millions of years. So these tiny artists don't just shape ecosystems, they record the memory of oceans. Now, let's shift from plant-like plankton to the animal side of the story, zooplankton. This category includes an astonishing variety of creatures. Tiny crustaceans like copepods, jellyfish like larvae, baby fish, even microscopic worms. Copepods alone are believed to be the most numerous animals on Earth. Billions drift through the oceans each day, grazing on phytoplankton and becoming food for larger animals, like krill, which feed whales. Many zooplankton are bioluminescent, using flashes of light to confuse predators or attract mates. At night, entire regions of the ocean sparkle as they rise from the deep in the planet's largely daily migration. They're also climate players. Their movements help circulate nutrients and carbon between the surface and the depths. You've probably never seen one, but without them, the ocean would go silent. But here's the problem. The systems that sustain all this invisible life are fragile, and they're already changing. As ocean temperatures rise, conditions that plankton depend on, light, nutrients, currents, they're all shifting. Diatom populations are declining in some regions. Other algae are blooming out of balance. Zooplankton migrations are changing, disrupting the food web for fish, birds, and mammals. And it's not just about animals. If phytoplankton like diatoms decrease significantly, that could mean less oxygen in the air, and less carbon pulled from the atmosphere into the deep. What happens to the climate if the ocean's microbial pump slows down? What happens to us? We're only beginning to understand these creatures, and we may be losing them before we even know how they work. The world's most important organisms don't roar or soar or growl. They drift. Their beauty lies in form, in function, in sheer numbers. They are both ancient and ephemeral, delicate yet powerful. They clean the water, feed the whales, create our air, build our fuel, and record our history, one microscopic shell at a time. And when they die, they fall like glass snow, building the foundation of the world beneath the waves. They remind us that life doesn't have to be big to be breathtaking. And nothing is more breathtaking than the structures these microscopic organisms create. If you care about coral reefs, care about plankton. If you care about the climate, care about diatoms. And if you care about the future of the ocean, start with its smallest citizens. Because the ocean's microbiome doesn't just support life, it is life. You've probably heard of animals that are able to make their own light. But what about the animals that use and manipulate light to their advantage? Consider the sea mouse, a strange, shaggy worm that lives in tide pools. The sea mouse is covered in bristles that act as microscopic prisms, taking in light and reflecting out a rainbow display that tells all would-be predators to stay away. Or consider the blue-ringed octopus with its brilliant blue rings. When threatened, these blue rings flash blue thanks to the iridophores in the octopus's body. This isn't bioluminescence, it's photonics, nature's ability to bend, split, and otherwise manipulate light into the most dazzling colors you've ever seen, more brilliant than anything we see on land. Today, we're exploring how 5 animals use light to their advantage, because in the ocean, color isn't about show, it's about survival. Let's jump in. When we think of animals that make light, we often think of the deep sea. Flashes of blue in the dark, glowing jellyfish, or anglerfish with their eerie lanterns. But there's another way creatures work with light that's even stranger. They don't make their own glow at all. Instead, they steal the light from the sun, or from the sea around them, and twist it, scatter it, and send it back in ways that seem impossible. This is the world of photonics in the ocean. Here, microscopic crystals and nanostructures in skin, shells, and scales act like prisms, mirrors, and diffraction gratings. These aren't pigments. The colors you see don't come from dyes or chemicals. They come from physics. Today, we're meeting 5 remarkable ocean animals that have evolved to bend light for survival. The sea mouse, with bristles that blaze like living holograms. The deadly blue-ringed octopus, flashing electric blue warnings. The floating blue dragon nudibranch, shimmering to vanish in plain sight. The giant clam, which farms algae using its own internal optics. And the humble sardine, which turns light into a living shield. But before we dive into these species, we need to understand what photonics actually is and why it's very different from bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is chemical magic. Animals like lanternfish or fireflies mix compounds in special cells to produce light, often deep in the ocean where no sunlight reaches. It's chemistry, light made from scratch. Photonics, on the other hand, is pure physics. It's about controlling existing light, usually sunlight, by using microscopic structures to bend, reflect, or scatter it. Think of a soap bubble. Its rainbow sheen isn't paint. It's light waves bouncing and interfering off thin layers of water and soap film. That's structural color, a kind of photonic effect. In nature, animals build microscopic layers, lattices, or crystals in their tissues that manipulate light in precise ways. Let's discuss 3 of these. Iridophores. These are cells with stacks of plate-like crystals that reflect specific wavelengths. There are photonic crystals, regular nanoscale patterns that scatter light into vibrant colors. And then there are multi-layer reflectors, like mirrors tuned for particular hues. These systems can be more vivid than pigments, because structural colors don't fade. As long as the microstructure stays intact, the colors remain as bright as the day the animal grew them. And in the ocean, where light behaves differently, filtered, polarized, blue shifted, these structures can do extraordinary things. Okay, so let's start with the sea mouse. It's a polychaete worm. Yes, that thing is a worm that lives on sandy seabeds in the North Atlantic and Mediterranean. From above, it looks unremarkable, a fuzzy reddish-brown oval, maybe 10 to 20 centimeters long. But its fur, quote-unquote, is made of stiff bristles called setae, and under the right light, they ignite. These bristles are actually photonic crystals, microscopic tubes with layered walls that reflect light at specific wavelengths. When viewed head-on, they shine deep red, but from the side, they blaze green and gold. Scientists have discovered these colors come from the bristles' internal structure, not pigments. The walls are arranged like the layers in a DVD or holographic sticker, interfering with light waves to produce shimmering, angle-dependent colors. Why? Possibly as a warning. Sea mice are predators of small invertebrates, but they're also prey for fish and crabs. Those sudden flashes might signal, "I'm toxic," or simply startle attackers. To me, it's incredible. A humble worm buried in sand, carrying technology that looks like it belongs on a banknote or a security hologram. Next, let's look at the blue-ringed octopus. This is a small, golf ball to tennis ball sized octopus, but it carries enough venom to kill dozens of people. Most of the time, its body is pale yellow-brown, blending into sand or coral. But when threatened, it explodes into a display of flashing electric blue rings across its body and arms. These rings aren't pigment. They're produced by iridophores, specialized cells containing stacks of light-reflecting plates made of guanine crystals. The octopus can contract muscles to instantly reveal or hide these cells, switching its photonic display on and off like a strobe. The blue color is especially visible underwater because seawater filters out reds and yellows quickly, but blue penetrates deeper. That makes this octopus's warning impossible to miss, even in murky shallows. It's a signal honed by evolution. Touch me and you won't survive. And unlike pigment-based color changes, photonic iridophores produce a purity and brightness that can't be matched by simple skin dyes. In a way, the blue-ringed octopus has evolved a weaponized light show. Next up is the blue dragon nudibranch. It's a small, drifting sea slug that lives at the ocean's surface, feeding on venomous siphonophores like the Portuguese man-of-war. It's stunning. The top of its body is a silvery blue, and its finger-like appendages, called serrata, shimmer with electric blues and silvers. The underside is pale, almost white. This coloration isn't pigment. It's light reflected by microscopic structures in its skin designed for counter-shading camouflage. That means that from above, predators see the blue back blending into the water. From below, they see a pale belly that matches the bright sky. The reflective structures scatter light so precisely that the nudibranch almost disappears in the open ocean. It's like wearing an invisibility cloak tuned to your environment, and because the colors come from structure, they stay vivid in harsh sunlight without fading. Here's the twist. The nudibranch also stores the venom from its prey in its serrata, so even if the camouflage fails, it's still a dangerous mouthful. More on that in the video linked on the screen now. Next, let's turn to the giant clam. These animals can grow over a meter long, but inside, it's running a microscopic farm. Its tissues are home to symbiotic algae, which photosynthesize and share nutrients with the clam. But sunlight in tropical shallows is harsh. Too much UV can damage cells, while the algae need even, diffuse light. The clam solves this with iridiocytes, cells that act like photonic scatterers, redistributing incoming sunlight deep into its tissues and filtering out harmful wavelengths. From above, the clam's mantle shimmers with blues, greens, and golds. Not from pigment, but from light interference in microscopic platelets. These colors aren't just decoration. They're functional optics for photosynthetic efficiency. In essence, the giant clam is a solar-powered animal that's engineered its own light management system. It's just incredible. Now, finally, let's turn to the humble sardine, which we can think of living in schools of living mirrors. When sardines gather in massive schools, their bodies flash silver in the sunlight. This is due to guanine crystal stacks in their skin, forming multi-layer reflectors that act like perfect mirrors. These photonic mirrors reflect polarized light, creating dazzling flashes as the fish turn. For predators, it's chaos. tracking one target among hundreds of identical blinking shapes is nearly impossible. This confusion effect only works because structural reflections are brighter and sharper than pigment-based colors could ever be. It's not just camouflage, it's optical warfare. So, why do photonics matter for ocean species? From holographic worms to mirrorfish, these creatures show that evolution doesn't just work with flesh and bone, it works with light itself. Photonics is different from bioluminescence. It's not about making light, but mastering it, bending it, amplifying it, hiding within it, or turning it into a weapon. And for me, it's a reminder that the ocean's wonders aren't just biological. They're physical, chemical, and optical. Nature is a designer, engineer, and physicist, all rolled into one. This is The Curious Current. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, stay curious and stay current. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something today. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking it, subscribing, and letting me know in the comments what you'd like to learn about next. I'm always looking to hear what you're interested in. My name is Ned, I'm a science storyteller, and this is The Curious Current, where we do deep dives into all the mystery of the ocean. There's so much more to learn, and we're just scratching the surface. As always, stay curious and stay current, and thank you for watching.